Italian engineer Andrea Stella was born on February 22, 1971, and he presently serves as the McLaren F1 team's team principal. He worked for Scuderia Ferrari as a racing engineer and performance engineer in the past. As a performance engineer for the test team, he started his career at Ferrari in 2000. From 2002 to 2006, he worked as a performance engineer for Michael Schumacher, and from 2007 to 2008, he was responsible for Kimi Raikkonen. After moving, he worked as a race engineer for Raikkonen in 2009 and then for Fernando Alonso from 2010 until 2014. He also assisted Valentino Rossi as a track engineer in 2006 during the riders' test with Ferrari. He joined McLaren in 2015 as head of race operations, moving to performance director in 2018 and racing director in 2019. In the latter role, he formed a triumvirate with James Key as technical director and Piers Thien as production director, all under team principal Andrea Stella. On December 13, 2022, he was announced to replace Stella as team principal of McLaren ahead of the 2023 season. According to Andrea Stella, McLaren will greatly benefit from their new wind tunnel going ahead as they aim to catch up to Red Bull, since they will have an edge from both a financial and a practical standpoint. With only 17 points and no podium positions in the first 8 races of the season, McLaren had a challenging start to the championship and is now 6th in the standings. However, their form has improved following their first significant upgrade package in Austria. They have subsequently accrued 202 points from 9 races, been on the podium 7 times, and are currently only 11 points behind Aston Martin in 4th position and 79 points behind Ferrari in 3rd. More good news for McLaren. The team just began construction on a new wind tunnel. Team principal Stella discussed the advantages of this development for the team in a speech in Qatar. The primary advantage, according to Stella, is having a wind tunnel on site. Previously, we had to travel to Germany for testing, which presents a significant logistical difficulty. There will undoubtedly be delays because you have parts ready to ship to Germany. And even in terms of design, Formula One moves quite quickly. We may now therefore shorten all of these loops, which are crucial to the speedier car's design. Additionally, we were able to save some money financially because we were renting the wind tunnel in Germany. Now that we have our own wind tunnel, we can save this money and use it to hire more engineers, technicians, mechanics, and laborers, or to buy more auto components. To be fair, we also have to point out that the upgrades we observed in Singapore and Austria were created in the German wind tunnel. Therefore, having our own wind tunnel is an upgrade, but mostly a financial and practical one. McLaren has shown that they are the most formidable rivals to Red Bull and Max Verstappen in recent races, as seen by their 2 podium results in Qatar and Japan. Oscar Piastri won the sprint at Lusail in addition to that. Stella expressed his opinions in Qatar on remarks made by his driver, Lando Norris, on the radio during the Japanese race, in which the British driver stated they were coming for Red Bull. Stella stated, "That is the team's belief because we look forward and we are here to be successful. We are here to win races and championships at some point." Stella claims that Milton Keynes has just outperformed everyone else in every way, and that it is now a matter of attempting to catch up with that advancement. This week, McLaren announced a reorganization that included the resignation of James Key, the former technical director, as a step towards achieving that aim. Stella claims that other teams only need to take a close look at the RB19 to see what they need to do to increase their speed. Regarding Red Bull's current form, he told Motorsport.com, "We've had really phenomenal seasons in terms of how close the competition for the victory was. We may even have to concede that one team may have a dominating season. However, I don't think there are any justifications for the other teams to claim we don't know what to do, given all the information you already possess, including the potential requirement that you examine the vehicle, since we will have cars on exhibit. Therefore, I continue to emphasize that the other team should use this chance to get better. In the end, it's a sport where winning races comes from having faster times. I don't believe there is a simple fix." Stella said that Red Bull won't necessarily be at a disadvantage despite its cost cap penalty, which affords it even less time in the wind tunnel and CFD usage than it would have as the winning team. In terms of the gap they display, he added, "The advantage currently seems large enough that they shouldn't be affected too much by the fact that they can't develop as much as the teams behind them. That is what I would anticipate. But I would also anticipate that other teams would draw inspiration not just from a technical one, but also from a motivational one. I think the group will get even closer to Red Bull towards the end of the season, because it's a long season and there's time to turn this information into developments." Stella acknowledged that improvement is possible, pointing to Aston Martin's improvement during the winter. He said, That really does demonstrate your ability to make these kinds of jumps. The differences with Red Bull have, in a sense, narrowed. You can thus fight for good points if you make a leap. I believe that Aston has chosen and pursued the appropriate principles for the automobile. Once more, it demonstrates that this is conceivable. Thus, it only restates McLaren's core thesis. To keep improving the automobile, we must put in a lot of effort. As we can see, progress is happening and is beneficial in the backdrop. This is the path we must take and capitalize on quickly. When asked where McLaren would be ranked in the 2023 standings, he responded, "Really, the differences are so small, from 5th to last. Therefore, I wouldn't assign a numerical value to our current position." Andrea Stella claims that the enhanced MCL60's ability to overtake Mercedes and Ferrari on the track is more down to the quality concepts being tested than to McLaren's additional wind tunnel time. Having finished 5th in the previous championship, McLaren was granted more time in the wind tunnel under the aerodynamics testing restriction scale of Formula 1 than the teams who finished first, namely Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Alpine. However, this season has demonstrated that spending time correctly is more important than the amount of time allocated. McLaren was off to a poor start in the championship after CEO Zak Brown acknowledged the team had fallen short of its goals for improvement. It's been a catch-up game ever since. After fielding one of the slowest cars in the first 2 rounds, McLaren made a huge improvement in the Austrian Grand Prix. The vehicle now has a new diffuser, side pods, and halo, to mention a few upgrades. Oscar Piastri finished 3rd in the sprint race in Spa, while Lando Norris went on to win the Hungarian and British Grand Prix in consecutive races. Due to their advances, McLaren is now 56 points ahead of their 2022 competitor, Alpine, who is now ranked 6th. If they keep up their current pace, they may even fight for 4th place. He told the media, "We certainly welcome having a few more hours than the top teams. We especially welcome it because it looks like we now have good ideas to bring to the wind tunnel. As I've stated previously, you may put in a ton of hours throughout the winter, but the ideas and concepts you include in the wind tunnel work are what really make a difference. And since we currently appear to be in a favorable situation, we are happy to work the additional hours." Even though McLaren has pulled away from Mercedes and Ferrari, the Woking team is still behind Red Bull, even if the MCL60 now resembles the all-conquering RB19. Stella gives in. Red Bull has been using the downwash idea for a much longer time, having started using it at the start of the previous season. He remarked, "Well, they seem to have been pursuing this idea for a while, so I think they might be taking advantage of their extensive experience in creating this kind of configuration. I believe that this has now become clear over time, which has the least amount of ATR time of any team." He told Motorsport.com, "The rules have never been such that the top team has the least chance on paper. The wind tunnel penalty was added to the opportunities that these regulations should present." That's all, guys. What do you think of McLaren's performance? Do comment with your thoughts below and subscribe to our channel for more updates.